Well, if you've been at a doctor's office lately, you know that computers just play a huge role in your healthcare now.
Yeah, so imagine what would happen if the computerized medical record system was suddenly hacked and not available to your doctor. Well, it happened recently at Touro Hospital uptown. Paul Murphy reports on what happened and how the hospital thwarted the cyber attack.
Touro infirmary officials are calling it a cyber incident. Sunday, a week ago, something took down the computerized medical record system in the Uptown Hospital's emergency room. The attack comes as a growing number of businesses, particularly healthcare providers across the country, have fallen victim to cyber attacks.
People are probing to get into your network to plant a seed in there, a virus in there that will in turn go and lock all of your files and make them unusable until you pay a ransom to have them unlocked.
Touro declined to say if this was a ransomware attack, but a spokeswoman said the hospital managed to contain the problem in less than 2 hours. Touro released this statement: cyber incidents targeting healthcare providers and hospitals has become an industry-wide concern for which we have security and protocols in place. Our IT team was able to immediately implement practices and procedures to contain and mitigate the incident, and the matter was quickly resolved without impacting patient safety and care. Cyber expert George Schiaffino says Touro was likely able to recover the data quickly using a secure backup system.
We recommend having both an on-site and an off-site backup. Your off-site backup is probably what's going to save you.
According to the hospital, no money was requested or exchanged. I asked Touro if the hospital is now taking any extra security precautions as a result of the cyber attack. A spokeswoman would only say that the hospital has well-established protocols in place to deal with such an occurrence. In Uptown, Paul Murphy, Eyewitness News.
Well, that ER staff was able to function using paper records until the computer problem was solved. Now, Touro wanted its patients to know that none of their medical records have been compromised.